This is the fully redesigned 2023 Honda HR-V. It is the sport trim level, so it's going to be a very basic model. But if you're looking for a great entry-level SUV, this is definitely one to consider. It competes against the Toyota Corolla Cross, the Chevrolet Trailblazer, and the Mazda CX-30. Let's see if this is the best option for an entry-level SUV. And today I'm here at Holmes Honda in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you would like to know more about this particular HR-V or any other model that Holmes Honda has in their inventory, check out the link down in the description of the video. And if you're curious about the overall dimensions and how much larger the second generation of the HR-V is, the wheelbase increases by 2 inches. And if you're curious about wheelbase, that's measured from the center of one tire to the center of the other. The overall length from bumper to bumper increases by a pretty good amount, 9.4 inches to be exact. The overall width is going to increase by 2.6 inches and a completely different look. A lot more sloped back here on the front end, at least when we come to looking at the headlight housing. It's a little more squared off to a degree in the front, but you will notice that there is a sloping line from about here coming down on the hood. With this platinum white exterior color, it's kind of hard to show the lines of the hood, but I'll do my best. The lines are going to work up off of the fender right here. They're going to flatten out, come to a peak here, and then come down into a bit of a valley, a very large valley, so to speak, with what's the center portion of the hood, and obviously repeat everything over here on the other side. All of the lighting is LED, so LED headlights, LED daytime running lights. Going to have the turn signal indicator turned on right there for you. And really, I like the look here with the front end. The front grille, it looks right, it looks aggressive. Tell me down in the comments what the front end of this model looks similar to. Not identical to, but similar to. There is something on the market that I'm trying to get you to notice. And some of you are going to know exactly what that is right off the bat. Now, how about tire and wheel size? We're looking at 225 on the width, a 50 series sidewall, and an 18-inch wheel. These are available with front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, depending on your desire. And we'll take a quick look here at the remote. A pretty standard look for the 2023 models of these Honda vehicles for the most part. As far as the remote looks, it does have remote start. You do have the turn signal indicators built into the heated power adjustable but manually folding side view mirrors, the gloss black mirror cap, and then we're going to have the matte black finish here on the bottom. And you're going to have obviously all of the great features here, such as blind spot monitoring. Honda Sensing is here, which is going to include adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, road departure mitigation. All of that is going to be here. And when we take a look here at the windshield, obviously the lines, well, I don't have to tell you too much about that. It's all sloped. It's going to come up and kind of round its way around to the top. Body color on the shark fin antenna. Tell me, do you think that should be gloss black or maybe a different color? Something just to consider. And then here is the rear roof spoiler to finish things off nicely. It would have been nice to see the rear window wiper tucked away here just to kind of clean things up. Not necessarily a big deal, but just one of those things that I particularly prefer. But doesn't really matter. What do you want? That's what matters most. And then we're going to have the LED tail lights to finish things off. The Sport logo here on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side over there, obviously the HR-V logo, and the exhaust finisher right here. Everything is connected, so no faux exhaust finishers on this particular model. A very clean look on the rear of the HR-V. And here under the hood, the singular engine offering for the HR-V. It's a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, makes 158 horsepower. It's mated to a continuously variable transmission, or a single-speed CVT as it is often known. And you would expect, I would imagine, that the gas mileage numbers are going to be good. They are 26 city, 32 highway, 28 combined. And Honda says you should use an impressive 3.6 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And when it comes to the rear cargo area, being that this is the sport trim level, you do have an assisted tailgate, but it's not power, but not a big deal. As you can see, it's dampened. It's going to go ahead and lift itself up. You've got the struts to help out with that. What about cargo capacity? 24.4 cubic feet up to 55.1 max cubic feet. Let's see if I can lift this up and show you what is under the floor. I don't know how easily I can do that. There is a spare tire under there. So for those, I'll put that back in just a second. For those who don't like the tire repair kits, well, you have something to celebrate about, and you're gonna maximize cargo capacity by pulling on that release. Obviously, you can do this on both sides. I'm gonna do it on just one here for now, but obviously that is how you maximize cargo capacity. The one thing that I think Honda should have left from the first generation of the HR-V to this second generation are the magic rear seats. Those aren't here anymore. Tell me what you think about that. And I told you I was going to put everything back in place, just hard to do that one-handed. But you do have the LED cargo lighting back here, so that's going to help out, and a 12-volt power outlet as well in this rear cargo area. Very easy to put that door back down. And let's take a look at what we're going to have on the interior. Soft touch materials here, the nice red contrast stitching right there. Not a very large door bin, but large enough to put a bottle in, a cup, whatever. You can put a lot of snacks in there, whatever the rear seat passengers are wanting to do. And we'll hop inside and take a look at, well, what you can find back here, which on this particular trim level, not too much. No rear air conditioning vents, no connectivity. But at this price point, I can't say that's a huge surprise. There's also no sunroof. I know for a lot of people, they either want a panoramic sunroof or they often will say, I just don't want a sunroof at all. So for those who don't want the sunroof, obviously this is something to consider. And taking a look in through the passenger side door, again, those soft touch materials, this is even softer than what we had in the back. We'll give it the armrest test. It is nice and comfortable. More of that contrast stitching right there, and a little larger door bin. So for the door bin snob in your life, tell them to sit in the passenger seat. And then you're going to have the manually adjustable here on the sport trim level, passenger and driver seats. And we'll hop inside. Obviously, you'll have the floor mats down there. You can put the carpet in there and insert that in with the HR-V logo. But obviously, some changes for 2023. It looks a lot like the 11th generation of the Honda Civic with the honeycomb design. You can't really tell the difference across the dashboard area here of where the air conditioning vents start and stop. The only reason you even know those are there is because of the control right here to control the or adjust the direction and airflow and all that good stuff. But a nice clean look. And then we'll look inside of the glove box. Plenty of room in there, that's for sure. And connectivity here. You do have a USB port. No wireless charging on this particular trim level, but you can see what you have in the way of your connectivity, your drink holders here. And for those who are not fans of push-button shifter, well, that didn't come over to this new generation of the HR-V. So your conventional shifter there, more of that contrast stitching. And then we're going to have our mode selector. Here's your hill descent control, power parking brake, and brake hold mode. And then how much space do we have inside of the center console? Well, let's see. It's kind of hard to tell. I didn't measure that. I probably could to tell you what's in there. But there's a decent amount of space, that's for sure. And last but not least, from the passenger side, at least, there's your vanity mirror. There I am. Hi, everybody. Give you a good look at what's going on there. And let's see how far back this visor will go. You can see it pretty much covers the entirety of the window, so that it's going to block out sunlight not only here on the passenger side, but obviously you can have the same experience over there on the driver's side. And we'll continue our tour looking in through the driver's side door. So pretty much the same setup as what we saw on the passenger side, with the exception of you can control all four windows here. You can lock or unlock those windows. Obviously your lock button here, and control those heated power adjustable side view mirrors. Like I said earlier, the driver and the passenger seats both manually adjustable, but they are adjustable nonetheless. You can turn traction control off right here if you'd like to attempt a front wheel drive burnout with 155 horsepower, and then you can turn it back on after you do that. If you drop this lever, you can adjust the position of the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. And let's listen. Hopefully my lapel mic picked that up. We're obviously going to have a new digital dashboard here. If you haven't seen what's going on here, well, now you know. You're obviously going to know who has their seatbelt on and who doesn't. So that's going to be useful. You can obviously use the steering wheel mounted controls here on the left-hand side to control everything going on with the radio. You can also go through quite a bit of information here, and all I'm doing is using the scroll wheel right there. But depending on what you want to do and what you want to know about, well, there you go. You've got quite a few things available and, well, a few things there that are not. But just so that you can see what is there. And let me go through the driving modes here so we can show you what's here. You have Econ, you have Snow, and that looks like that is about it. You do have Normal, but other than that, no other modes. So we do have the nice updated infotainment screen. It's no longer what used to be here in the previous generation. I think that's a big improvement by Honda. Simple to use. You will have to have a USB cable to connect your phone, unfortunately, in this particular case, as you can see right there. But just so you know what is here, you do have the controls here, the knobs that I know a lot of you are a big fan of. You'd rather have that than not for controlling the volume, turning the radio on and off, and surfing through your stations, all that good stuff. So many different features and functionality are here, so that makes things very simple. Obviously, you have quite a bit you can do here. We're not going to go through a full tour, but just so you can see what is there, you do have heated seats for the driver and the passengers, so you can see that. And then single zone climate control. In an interior of this size, I don't think you really need multi-zone climate control, although having those air conditioning vents in the rear, if I can get my brain working again, would actually be helpful. That should just be a standard feature on all vehicles. But if you're curious to know what it's like to drive this HR-V, let's hop out on the road and I'm going to tell you all about that. By the way, one additional feature here in the interior, you're going to have the pass-through here, and there are 2 additional USB ports that could potentially be used by rear seat passengers with a long enough USB connection. I don't know how easily I can work my way over here and show you that there's one on both sides. Okay, let's get out on the road and see what it's like to drive this new HR-V. And so I'm not doing anything crazy, just kind of getting into it, just kind of working my way up to highway speed here, which is 45 miles per hour. Didn't have any trouble getting there. If I need to accelerate to a higher speed, well, why don't we slow down a little bit and we'll just kind of see what happens here. I'm going to get on it a little bit. You know, there's a CVT transmission involved here by the sound, but I have to say, for the average person, this is not going to be a problem. At least I don't think so. A lot of people in this day and age are expecting a lot more horsepower because a lot of vehicles obviously have more horsepower than they did at one point in the past. However, I think for the power to weight ratio here with the HR-V, I don't think you're going to have any trouble. The ride quality from what I've experienced so far seems to be nice and comfortable. Overall, an enjoyable vehicle to drive. You've got the leather-wrapped steering wheel here that is nice and comfortable as well. I think this would be a good vehicle for a long road trip, and obviously there are other trim levels that are going to offer more than just manually adjustable seats and other features beyond that. For the price point, you do get quite a bit here. And for those who are out there and still saying, you know, I've never owned a vehicle with an infotainment screen and all that good stuff, it's so simple to learn to use. It's not overly complicated by any means. And one thing I did forget to tell you, but I'm sure you've probably seen it on other videos, is the multi-view rear view camera. It really doesn't look any different than what you have on the Honda Civic and other models. So it really works out quite well. It's easy to use. Every vehicle is going to come with a rear view camera in this day and age. So in case you were wondering about that, even though I didn't show that feature, it is here. Actually, every vehicle from now on will have a rear view camera, at least if you live in the United States. I believe it was supposed to be by the year 2020, all vehicles were required to have that backup camera, so you won't find one without it. Would it be nice to see some additional features on higher trim levels, such as a front view camera and different things like that? Sure, why not? But at the price point of what you get here, you can't expect too much. I think you get quite a bit for the money that you spend, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on how Honda has done with this redesigned HR-V. So tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments section. Is the 2023 Honda HR-V the ultimate entry-level SUV. Tell me what your thoughts are and why you answered the way that you did. I'm always curious to know. For a vehicle that comes in around $25,000, until you start adding options, obviously you can get up around 30 plus, depending on trim level and options. Well, still very reasonably priced for this day and age. I have to say a special thanks to my friends here at Holmes Honda for loaning me this HR-V for the day, and a special thank you to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and would like to know about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.